And welcome in to another episode of Off Script. My name is Zak Herbstreit, and the offseason is in full swing right now, full effect. In terms of college football, not crazy amount of stuff going on right now, so we're kind of grasping at straws when it comes to topics. But if you go on the internet, kind of go on Twitter, just YouTube, stuff like that, there's a lot of interviews out there right now with head coaches, but one particular today I want to talk about, if you're a Florida fan in general as well, probably, perk your ears up, but the Andy Staples interview with John Summerall, incredibly insightful. If you haven't watched it, I highly suggest it. But Andy Staples asked incredible questions. John Summerall was kind of just giving his overall thoughts on the team coming up this year, his culture that he wants to instill. And watching that, it kind of just was a breath of fresh air to the college football world, in my opinion. Just John Summerall in general is a breath of fresh air to the college football world. And let me tell you why. But before I get into it today, if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoy college football, do not forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot, so I appreciate you guys. But get into it. Why is John Summerall just kind of a breath of fresh air to the college football world? But let's get into it here. I really feel like in the era of the NIL, transfer portal world, where the student athletes and the players are kind of calling the shots and really demanding nowadays to the universities and the coaches, it's almost unfair to them because it's a complete role reversal from where we were 10 years ago, where these coaches used to be like, hey, this is why you should play here, and this is what I expect from you at a university, and we're going to develop you into a great player, a great man, and you can go on to play in the NFL or just, development in general. It's nowadays it has so much to do with money, so much to do with, hey, like what am I going to get if I go here? I get it nowadays where, people need to make their money. I get that. I totally do. But it's totally just kind of hindering the meaning and the overall, just the biggest part of college football, which is the development of these young players. And it's sad to see. But when hearing this interview of John Summerall and seeing what his culture is going to be of love, either love for each other and love for the players, love for the game, it's a complete breath of fresh air when looking at the college football world. And for those that don't know John Summerall, or Florida fans that are kind of unversed with John Summerall, get into his backstory real quick. He was 45-13 as a head coach since 2021, so the guy's really successful. Took over a Troy team in 2021 that went 5-7, but then turned it around completely and won the Sun Belt Conference in 2022 and 2023. And he was so successful that he moved on to Tulane then, where he had success there as well, playing for the American Conference title in 2024 and then winning it in 2025. And now he's at Florida, and he's expected to do great things. But why am I high on this coach right now? Why am I super like, hey, this compared to, like Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, which are already pretty established names and their cultures are already pretty solid. But for a program that's so established and that's been kind of in the gutter for a while, being Florida, it's kind of like, hey, like you finally have a guy that's going to give hope, kind of have a guy that's going to, give you a chance to be what you were back in the early 2000s when Urban Meyer was there. So for me right now, the biggest reason is he kind of instills the toughness. And there was an interview as well with Urban Meyer on, and I forget what podcast it was, the one with Mark Ingram and Urban Meyer. But they were talking about off-season workouts and how championship caliber teams are made in the offseason. And he was kind of basically just saying like, hey, we try to make it almost impossible for our players to go through these, because if they go through it now, they're going to be in the games in November, December. They're going to be like, this is adversity. No, like this is cake right here. I went through this back in January and February. This is nothing. And they were also talking about reverting back to your training. When adversity hits, what do you go to? You go back to your training. And that was another thing when I played at Ohio State that was instilled in me as well. When the going gets tough, what do you do? Like, hey, like you don't point at each other. You don't go at each other. You go back to your training. What'd you learn? Another thing I thought was pretty interesting is instead of indulging to these players' needs of money, hey, I need this car, I want this apartment or something like that, he's basically saying, hey, you got to earn your paycheck. If you're here, you're going to earn it. And seeing that in the college football world now, and hearing that from a head coach, especially an SEC caliber, coach, and you're like, Like, that's the kind of culture he's implementing. And he also said that whoever's left is going to have the mentality required to win, which is beyond true, by the way. If you're still there after he's like, hey, you got to earn this, and you're like, not like the people that are like, nah, I'm good, I'm going to go somewhere else, and they're just going to give it to me like that. Like, those guys you don't want those guys in your team. They're not going to be in it for the long haul. When adversity hits, they're the first ones to be like, nah, I'm good. Or they're pointing fingers. They're calling other people out. So having that happen and kind of thinning out the herd and having just the guys that want to play, that love ball, that's the kind of culture you want. And like I said, love. I think he implements the phrase, the word, the four-letter word, love, for the sport, for the players, for the program. Especially after the past couple of seasons of disappointment in Gainesville, going 29-34 over the last 5 years, Florida fans, the Florida program in general, is due for success, is due for just, better. They need better. And I'm a firm believer in this as well. Whenever Florida is good, college football is good. It's just fun. It's just better. And another thing I want to add, too, when your coach is literally squatting with the players, he's in the squat rack right next to you, and you're a player and you see that, and he's – you always say I wouldn't ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And he's doing that with you. Like, that breeds a sense of like, hey, like, this guy, he cares about us. But Florida fans, let me know what you guys think of this coach. I think it's an incredible hire, especially after hearing what he's going to do, what he implements in his culture. I'm really sold on this guy already. But Florida fans, I want to hear your thoughts. Like I said, do not forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'll see you guys soon.